Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin battle scars. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Also, check out the sale on the premium list, the bull market sale. You can find a link to that in the description below as well. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, throughout any market cycle, it is impossible to navigate the entirety of that market cycle without some battle scars, okay? And battle scars in crypto are more or less why crypto veterans who have been here a long time are they sort of see these dips as nothing to get that worked up over. And when you think about it, you might see a lot of people saying, "Oh, they're battle hardened." It's somewhat true. I mean, when you're living through crypto and you see moves that can be upwards of say a 63%, a 61% drop over the course of a few weeks, 4% drops in a day don't really mean a whole lot. Okay, so in the grand scheme of a market cycle, these little dips that we're getting, they're not really enough to create a battle scar even, okay? You might ask, well, what would create a battle scar? Well, I can assure you that anyone who was in crypto back in March of 2020, they know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's nothing like waking up to your portfolio being down 60% across the board. So that creates a battle scar. This was sort of like a battle scar, this drop here. Okay, so these are battle scars that stick with you, and you really just don't forget them. It's like you know what you were doing at the time, you know where you were, you know what your portfolio was at, and then so you live through it. Okay, these moves here, these are just they're like paper cuts, right? They're like paper cuts. Like it maybe it stings a little bit, but is it something to get out of bed for? Is it something that's going to stick with you in a year? Probably not. In a year, are you going to remember May 10th, the day that Bitcoin dropped 4.3%? Are you going to remember that? No, probably not. But for those who are in crypto back over here on March 12th, they do remember it. They do remember March 12th of 2020 because that was when the market crashed, okay? And so these, days like this are they're sort of like these nagging paper cuts. Yeah, it stings a little bit, but you actually kind of expect these things to happen, and it's weird if it goes a long time without it happening. So we also want to do, because we do have a new weekly candle, we want to look at the bull market support band. Where are we? Okay, so currently the bull market support band, which again is a combination of the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, currently ranges from 47,269 up to 49,014. So basically the bull market support band is now flirting with 50K. Now last week, or a week or two ago, we talked about the cross of the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, and speculated that if history is any indication, which it's not always the best indication, but a lot of times it does provide a good indication. If history is any indication, then we should be testing the bull market support band in the not so distant future. You can see we had a cross here. We tested the bull market support band about 4 weeks later, so we actually fell below it. And there's been plenty of other times this one actually happened on the cross. And so I do expect us to test the 20-week SMA, especially since we had this cross in the coming weeks. But to be fair, I'm surprised it's gone on this long. Okay, I mean, as I said before, a lot of us are getting gray hairs waiting for the 20-week SMA to be tested, and at this point, we're not even sure if we're going to hold it because, whenever we do test it, whether it be at 50K or maybe we test it down the road at 60K, whatever, we don't even know if we're going to hold it because of how long it's been since the last test. So it will be a fairly critical test of the bull market support band whenever we do test it. And note that right now it's approaching 50K. So hopefully, if we do test it in the next week or two, it'll correspond to around $50,000, which might provide some support, like mental support, especially if it's dipping right below it to 49K. So maybe that would provide some level of support in addition to it being the bull market support band. Now, if we switch back over to the daily time frame, we're obviously back at the 20-day SMA. Okay, so Bitcoin now, that correction we just had took us below it, but right now Bitcoin's actually above the 20-day SMA, which is currently at $55,000. Okay, so as long as we're above the 20-day, things can still remain relatively bullish for altcoins in general. And note that while this could ultimately trend back down, we also know that a lot of times during these periods where it's sort of just going above and below the 20-day SMA, we'll just remember this as maybe a reaccumulation phase if this continues to go on. This has been going sideways now for approximately 2.5 months. We know that we've seen much longer time frames last cycle of sideways movement. When you're living through it, it's difficult because you're constantly testing prior all-time highs, but when you look back, it becomes a little bit more clear. So right now we're slightly above the 20-day SMA. The 50-day we're not above. So the 50-day is at 56,724, so exactly $1,000 higher than the current price. And you might be interested to know where the 100-day is because we more or less bounced off of that level a few weeks ago. Currently, that is coming in at around 53,132. And we actually did have a wick very, very close to it a few hours ago, but we did not quite make it down to the 100-day SMA. And for those that are curious, the 200-day SMA is all the way down here at 38,297, which is, again, it's a lot further down than even the 20-week SMA that we would hopefully hold as support in the event of a dump. Okay, so as we navigate the crypto market cycle, we recognize that there will be battles along the way. Some of them Bitcoin will win and move up. Some of them it will lose and move down. A lot of them are paper cuts, like they sting a little bit, but they're nothing to get necessarily that worked up over. Some will leave battle scars, which are going to turn a few stomachs because of sort of the corrections that can come along with it. I know some people have already had a hard time, especially with some of these other corrections of 31%, and then this one was 26%. This one here was around 18%. And then so far, that one reached all the way down to around 27 or 28%. So Bitcoin is, it has its fair share of corrections. Having a weekly update of the 20-week SMA, I think, is useful so that we know in the event of a dump, where is it? Again, not to say that we have to hold it. Hopefully we do, but just to say that if we're ever below it, it sort of changes the sentiment on altcoins. And then at that point, altcoins can become very bearish on Bitcoin. They don't recover as quickly. A lot of coins have already recovered close to where they were a few days ago. If we're below the 20-week SMA and we're seeing that type of price action, it makes it a lot harder for altcoins to recover because that confidence is not there because Bitcoin's not above the 20-week SMA. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. And also check out the premium list sale. You can lock in the low rate. Make sure you guys check that out in the description below as well if you want to know how I'm navigating these markets. Thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely subscribe, click the bell icon to turn on notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.